Several years ago, we chose to be radically inclusive and to adopt a multi-generational worship where our services include all family members, so welcome to children and youth of all ages. There are, of course, a number of announcements included in your order of service today. Please take them with you that you need to as reminders for the week and to share with other folks. I'd like to call your attention again to the upcoming event, A Century of North Texas UU Anniversaries. We're celebrating our past and claiming our future. It's on March the 2nd at 3 o'clock at Horizon UU Church in Carrollton. There are several UU churches. There are 12 UU churches, in case you didn't know, here in the North Texas area, and 3 or 4 of us are celebrating anniversaries. The First Unitarian Church in Dallas is 125 years old. Horizon, I think, is about older than Westside, perhaps, I can't remember, but we're celebrating 30. And Community in Plano is about 25 or so. So we thought we would have a big service. It's sponsored by the NTUC board. We're going to have this service. We have a special speaker coming in, and it's going to be a great time just to get to know other UUs that you may not realize are here. And we will have a mass choir, so I've sent out an email to the singers who have participated here. We'd love for you to be in the mass choir that's going to sing that Sunday afternoon. We'll meet right before the service to practice. The email has a link to the anthem where you can listen to the YouTube video and listen. It's not very difficult, but come on and sing with the UUs there. There is no charge, but the caterer needs to know how many people are coming. If you'll go to ntuuc.org/events, there's a place there. You just fill in your name and what church you're from or whatever, and they'll know that you're coming. Also, for those of you who are joining us online today, if you're not already on our mailing list, please sign up by clicking the link at the bottom of our westsideu.org website. Also, on March the 9th, for prospective folks who may want to know more about this church and what it takes to become a member, it's not difficult. We're offering a lunch and learn event on March the 9th, right after the service. And you can learn more about Westside, talk with our ministers and members, and explore opportunities to get more involved in our church. And this is multi-generational with activities to encourage engage children and adults alike, and lunch will be provided. So see the insert and RSVP if you can. All right, for those of you who are here in person, please take a moment now to silence your devices. And this morning, I am so pleased to welcome back our guest speaker, Reverend Thomas McCracken, to our pulpit. And today he's going to be speaking on bringing our best selves, to be the best version of ourselves as an individual and as a member of the community. And he's going to explore ways to slow down, eliminate distractions, and be more present and spark creativity. He's going to be sharing on how we can work together to improve ourselves so that we can work together to make our world more just and loving. And just a little bit about Reverend McCracken. He's an ordained minister of the Christian Church, that's the Disciples of Christ, and he's currently an assistant vice president for client relations for his denomination in the retirement plan. And his varied professional background includes ministry, wealth management, and law practice. He was born and raised in Midland. He came to TCU for college, but he transferred to Austin, and he graduated there. He went to law school at St. Mary's in San Antonio and passed the Texas bar, practiced law a little bit, and then he came back to TCU and attended Bright Divinity School, where he became an ordained minister in 2000. His wife, Reverend Leah McCracken, is an associate chaplain at TCU. They've lived and worked in Washington, D.C., Nashville, where his wife went to seminary at Vanderbilt, and he's worked in Dallas and Meridian, Mississippi, her hometown. And now they're back here in Fort Worth for about 9 years. Their goal is to strive to make the world a better place and impress the same upon their 3 children, ages 21, 19, and 16. And so now I invite you to take a nice big deep breath. And from wherever you are, settle into this sacred space that we create together, and let us worship together as we listen to this morning's prelude, Fountain in the Rain, by William Gillick, performed by Dr. Yuki Kumamoto. All right, our opening words this morning are Less Beautiful Without You by Reverend Tess Baumgardner. This place would be less beautiful without you. Muslim, Christian, Buddhist, Jew, Hindu, humanist, and earth-centered too.
This place would be less beautiful without you, your heart honed by hardship, grief, illness, seeking solace and comfort here among us.
This place would be less beautiful without you, filled with joy and gratitude, seeking celebration of life's bounty.
This place would be less beautiful without you, curious, inquisitive, asking questions, seeking transformations, emerging from within.
This place would be less beautiful without you, striving to resist a world that tells us we are so much less than we can truly be.
This place would be less beautiful without each of us, born here in this morning to seek heaven's fire in each other's souls, our own flames rising to meet.
Now, let us worship together. So, as do many Unitarian Universalist congregations, we begin our time together this morning with the lighting of a chalice. The chalice is a symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith, and it represents the Unitarian Universalist Association, or the UUA. The flaming chalice symbolizes the heritage of our past, the warmth of our community, and the light of hope within this church today. Continuing our Flame On Stewardship campaign, we asked stewardship team member Jeff Canclini to share his answer to the question about how they value Westside.
Good morning. It's great to be here. Okay, so I would challenge you all to ask this question. I was asked this question. What do I value about Westside's presence in my life and community? Now, I'm sure, like you, I can come up with a big list of things that I value. But today I want to make it more personal. So I'll tell you something about me. In a word, I value wisdom. And so why is that? If you said, Jeff, who are you? I would tell you that I'm a sojourner. And what does it mean to be a sojourner? Well, there's a poet named Ken Casey that I'll read you something from that kind of epitomizes what that means. The answer is never the answer. What's really interesting is the mystery. If you seek the mystery instead of an answer, you'll always be seeking. I've never found anyone who found the answer. They think they have, and then they stop thinking. That really resonates with me. So as a sojourner, I relish exploring mystery to uncover truth. Truth about myself, truth about our society, right? A lot of questions there. And truth about our universe. So what I really value in Westside is your collective wisdom, what I can glean from you as I seek truth. And employing that truth as I glean from you in our lives, in the lives of our society around us. So I thank you for that. And this is what I value most, is truth that isn't doctrinal, but rather truth that comes from quest to really understand. And that's what I value. Thank you.
All right, our opening hymn today is number 1000 in the Teal hymnal, Morning Has Come. Please stand if you are able and so moved, and join our song leader, Darren Cote.
Dance with joy and sing a
Yeah, there's a lot of energy in that song. It's great. All right, please remain standing and join me in our affirmation. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to work for justice through action, to serve others in community, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with creation. Thus do we covenant with one another. And you may be seated. And now, please come forward if you are young at heart or would like to have a closer view of our Time for All Ages presented by our radically exciting Director of Religious Education, Nikki Kennedy. And afterwards, we will sing the children back to their seats with number 16, "'Tis a Gift to Be Simple," found in your gray hymnal.
Good morning. There's extra pillows today because last week we ran out. I know, it's kind of a cool problem to have, isn't it? Thank you, Chloe, for sharing. Man, how many of you enjoyed the sunshine yesterday? Me. I was over the gloomy weather. Today, it's very cold outside, but the sun is out. So that's okay, I'll take that too. But you know, it was this week, so I like to look at the weather, at what's coming. I know not everybody does. But I saw that this week it's going to get very, very cold and kind of gloomy. So that makes me want to drink hot tea. Do any of you drink hot tea? So my phrase lately has been high fives and hot tea vibes. So that's what I wish to you all this week. High fives and hot tea vibes. And you know, when it's cool, or maybe cold, less than 32, it is Texas, that's cold. And especially when you've moved here from Hawaii, it's very cold, right? Especially. For those of you who don't know, some longtime members of Westside have recently moved back to Fort Worth from Hawaii. And so we are celebrating. Yes. I didn't ask if it was okay to call them out, but I won't say any names. But thank you, Thayer and Cindy. So, in this cold weather, it makes me think of those animals that hibernate. And it makes me think how important it is to slow down. Maybe find a new rhythm, if you will. And so this morning, I'm going to ask you guys to help me make a rhythm. And I mean all of y'all in this room are going to help us make this rhythm, okay? So I want you to get to a comfortable space in your chair, and I need you to have your hands ready. Are your hands ready? And I'm going to point, and we're going to start on my left, which is your right, and we're going to go around the room, okay? So I'm going to point a little bit, okay? And we're going to do this together. So you guys take a deep breath and slowly breathe it out. And we're going to start. I want you to keep your mouths closed with a bubble in it, as I would tell my preschoolers, and your ears open and your eyes open. Okay, are you guys ready? Rub your hands together. Okay, ready? Can snap. Snap. We're going to slap our thighs. Thank you, friends. So some of you may be familiar with that. It's how we make a rainstorm together inside. If we had long time, I would have us do it again, and I'd have us close our eyes and just listen. We don't have time this morning for that, but I encourage you guys to find your rhythm, to take time, especially when it's cold and hot tea weather, to slow down, to find a new rhythm. Maybe it's here at meditation with others in this community. Maybe it's a special spot in your house where you like to read or contemplate or listen to music. But I encourage you to take time to find your rhythm, to take time to take care of yourselves, to think. Maybe it's with crayon and paper, but I hope you guys find a rhythm that works for you, because life can be super busy and crazy, and if we don't take time to breathe and slow down, it's hard. This is a place where you can come and you can slow down and you can breathe, and we can make rain together in this community. I am so glad you guys are all here with us today. I thank you, and I hope you have a week full of high fives and hot tea vibes. Thank you, Martin. Hey, stop.
Good morning. I'm Jane Hardwick, one of the Pastoral Care Team associates. In our community here at Westside, we make time each week to share pieces of our lives with one another. We do this because each person in this community has value. Members of the team can be identified wearing a Pastoral Care Team badge. Please submit your joys and concerns to the team by completing one of these orange forms at the welcome desk, or emailing us at pastoralcare@westsideu.org, or contacting any member of the team. The other current team members are Carol Kappa, John Fisher, Debbie Rake, Brenda McKeon, and Barbara Crotty. Would the members of the team please raise your hands so our congregation can see who you are? Thank you. We share our concerns with one another today, knowing that sorrows come into each person's life, knowing that together we offer comfort. As I read your concern, would you please stand and raise your hand so all can know who you are if you're here. We have a concern today from Stephanie Jeffers. She had surgery this past Monday and is recovering. So let's keep her in our thoughts. We also share our joys with one another, knowing too that joy comes into all of our lives, knowing that together our voices can rise in a chorus of celebration. And again, please stand or raise your hand as I read your joy. Jana Peden. Mom had her big toe amputated Wednesday and is pain-free. She's moving to a rehab hospital anytime now. Good news. From Carol Kappa and Sue Spell. What a joy to have Thayer and Cindy here at Westside this morning. Welcome back. And another joy, and this is from one of our youth, I think. They forgot to put their name on here. But Thayer has returned. We make space each week for musical centering, knowing that the life and experience of every person matters, and together our lights shine brighter. as we hold all the joys and concerns among us, both those spoken and unspoken. Let us sing together number 1002, Comfort Me, in the Teal hymnal.
Good morning. My name is Jana Francois Kennard, and I am one of the co-meditation leaders here at Westside. And I'll be leading the meditation this morning. So I now invite you to relax your mind and body and join me in a time of meditation. Today, we will begin with an introduction titled Developing Kindness Toward Yourself, a Meta Practice, by Valerie Mason John's book, Detox Your Heart, Meditations for Emotional Healing. Afterwards, our bell will sound to signal the start of a minute of silence for your own meditation, prayer, or reflection, and it will sound again at the end. And I just want to say a little bit, on Thursday evenings in our meditation Sangha, we've been studying in honor of Black History Month, different Black Buddhists. And so I just wanted to point out that Valerie Mason John is one of those, and we've been doing her silent meditation. So this is what that is from. So Valerie Mason John shares a meditation for cultivating a positive relationship with yourself and, by extension, the world. When we take positive action and respond creatively to our anger, we are taking good care of ourselves. Taking care of our hearts, minds, and bodies is taking positive action. Learning to be kind and loving toward ourselves is a challenge. It is also part of the lifelong practice of working with our anger. There is a meditation called the Metta Bhavana, which has its origins in the Buddhist tradition. Metta means loving kindness, and bhavana means to develop. This meditation teaches us to be kind and gentle by cultivating a positive relationship with ourselves and the rest of the world. Loving kindness can be the beginning of compassion for ourselves and the way to end anger in our hearts and minds. It is what Valerie, and I try to do too, I think she's better at it. It is what I have used to begin releasing the toxins of anger, hatred, and fear from my heart. It has been the alchemy in my life. The first stage of this meditation turned Valerie's life around. It was here that she faced the question, if I can't feel love for myself, how can I feel healthy love for others? Here are instructions for this first stage of the meditation. I hope you find it as revolutionary over time as Valerie and I now have. So close your eyes or find a place in front of you to gaze, to focus your gaze, and ground yourself on your seat. You want to be tall, but not rigid. So maybe focus your spine visualize a sapling that can move in the wind, but it still has energy. And make yourself fully supported and your feet placed firmly on the ground like roots of a tree. Become aware of the breath permeating your body and imagine it to be clearing the toxins from your heart. So breathing in, you know you're breathing in. A lot of times I picture a color, and breathing out, you're cleansing your body. And now visualize yourself maybe somewhere in a beautiful place that you enjoy, or if that doesn't feel quite right, just silently say your name to yourself and keep remembering to breathe. And now say to yourself, may I be happy. And then breathe and acknowledge how that feels. May I be happy. And then change the phrase to, may I be well. And breathe with it and acknowledge how that feels. May I be well. And then change the phrase one more time. May I be kind toward my suffering. And you'll learn in Buddhism, or in our meditation class, that suffering means maybe anxiety, maybe anger, something that's just unpleasant that you're holding in your heart. That's kind of what we consider suffering. So may I be kind toward my suffering. And you're going to breathe and acknowledge how that feels. And then we're going to add 3 more phrases. May I cultivate more kindness within my heart. Breathe with it and see how that feels. May I cultivate more kindness within my heart. And the next phrase, may I cultivate more peace within my heart. And the last phrase, may I continue to develop and grow. And breathe with it and see how that feels. May I continue to develop and grow. Now, in our meditation class, we would sit with it at about another 15 or 20 minutes, picking a phrase that speaks to us. And again, I know we don't have time for that today, but pick one and maybe we'll breathe 5 good deep breaths. And Valerie says, if you practice this weekly, it will begin to transform your heart. And if you have a chance to practice it daily, it will bring about positive change in your life. If our hearts are full of love and kindness for ourselves, there is little room for anger. Such mental states might still arise, but love is the cleansing water that puts out the flames of anger. May we be good company to one another in our questions and our journey. May it be so. Blessed be, and amen.
Thank you, Jana. All right, here at Westside, we practice our UU faith in a variety of ways. One of those is by giving 100% of our gifts to our weekly collection, unless otherwise designated. And we support organizations who carry out our transcendent values of compassion, justice, and equality. Westside's plate offering for February is the Texas Impact Foundation, and it is an interfaith organization that includes Unitarian Universalism, Judaism, Islam, Christianity, and other faiths. It equips people of conscience and faith with information and opportunities to educate their communities and engage with lawmakers on policy issues. These partners work together on issues that impact our most vulnerable Texans. Quote, "We help people live out their faith in the public square, moving the faith community from charity to justice," quote. Longtime Texans may find Texas Impact's history interesting. Its predecessor group formed out of the 1973 Sharpstown scandal in the Texas legislature, a major scandal that ended the careers of most of the elected officials at that time. To Texas religious leaders, the scandal was proof that Texas officials were more concerned with their own welfare than with the welfare of Texans, especially the disadvantaged. Those 50-year-old words still ring true. Westside is a member congregation of TXUU Justice Ministry, which is a part of Texas Impact. And over the past legislative sessions, Texas Impact has collaborated with us and will continue to do so this session. Our shared legislative priorities include public education, health care, including opposition to the abortion ban, racial justice, climate justice, reducing gun violence, and voting rights. And we will be taking a bus from the North Texas area to the Texas legislature on March 17th for the UU Lobby Day. So we can get you more information about that if you're interested in participating. We had a really great group, I think 2 years ago, that went down. Recently, Texas Impact played a key role in opposing the Bluebonnet Bible-infused K-5 language arts curriculum. Informing and collaborating with the many people who worked on the issue, it was one of several resources Sue Anderson here at Westside she used when crafting the letter sent to the State Board of Education opposing that curriculum. If you were one of the 1,700 plus who signed that letter, thank you very much. This legislative session helped Texas Impact help us by donating generously as you are able. Now, if you're giving towards your stewardship pledge today, please use the envelopes at the bottom of the bowl as it's passed. And now let us enjoy this musical offering, Jupiter from the Planets by Gustav Holst, arranged by Fukushima and performed by Yuki. we thank you so much for putting into practice the spiritual virtue of generosity. Our giving connects us to the wider web of our community. And thank you also for keeping your stewardship commitment current to help keep our congregation's important work going. And now, Reverend McCracken.
Good morning, Westside. I appreciate the invitation to be with you all and appreciate the hospitality of Carol and Linda in making my time today happen. I admire this community's commitment to listening, learning, discussing, seeking to make this world a better place, and I share those commitments with you. One of the challenges in my position, speaking to a group with which I am rather unfamiliar, is that my chosen topic might be irrelevant. You all may be experts in this field. You may all have the solutions to my pondering. And as I sit here this morning, listen to the children's moment, practice meditation with you all, I'm thinking that Westside is better off than 99.9% of the rest of this world on this topic. So wonderful for you all. But because brain health is important to all of us, and because the rapid advancements in technology bring constant challenges to our humanness, and because I know and am experiencing what Westside treasures in community and creativity and social action and interaction, I'm going to invite you to sojourn with me this morning. That blurb which Carol read, which I submitted, makes it sound like I have all the answers. Absolutely not. But together maybe we can examine that which interferes with our ability to be fully present to one another and in our community. It's a familiar story in 2025. Family, friends gather around a table in a living room, maybe sharing a meal, but at least sharing time, sharing ourselves with one another. In my case, just this past week, my wife and I had the good fortune of spending a couple evenings with some ministry colleagues we don't see but once or twice a year. Bright Divinity School hosted its annual Ministry Week, where the school invites esteemed speakers from across the nation to come to Fort Worth and preach, lecture, conduct workshops about matters relevant to faith communities. Indeed, this has been an annual pilgrimage for two of our friends. One, Dan, who is on the board of Texas Impact. Dan never has to journey too far for about over 20 years now, just from College Station. And the other, Daryl, who usually has to journey from afar. He's been at a church in Michigan the last 2 years, and before that, California for a number of years, Montana and Ohio before that. It's always good to see them, of course. My wife Lee and I have to confess, because of the relevance here, are about 10 years apart in age. And it seems that most of our friends, including Dan and Daryl, are right in between our ages. So in the case of these friends who were visiting, both had turned 50 just in the last 6 months. You doing the math? So conversations this week with our friends naturally revolved around midlife things, maybe beyond midlife things. Careers, family, health. Daryl, who has no children, has experienced some health challenges in the past year. Dan is looking to have an empty nest within the next year. These conversations seem to directly or indirectly consider mortality more and more, and what seems like a mutual desire to maximize the diminishing years of our lives? Many of you have these same conversations. It is a joy to have friends like that. You have friends like that around you now with whom you can have these treasured conversations. But also, like many of you, the world seems to present more and more challenges to our ability to have these deep conversations. Even for me, Lee, Dan, and Daryl, the allure of buzzes, dings, and notifications were difficult to ignore, even during our all too brief, life-giving conversations. Wellness is a buzzword these days. Corporate America seeking to prioritize mental and physical health of employees, faith communities doing the same for members, for staff, schools doing so for students, even the military newly exploring wellness possibilities for those in uniform. Why? We're all overwhelmed. In his book, Stolen Focus, author Johann Hari identifies a systemic problem of inattention. He writes, "The truth is that you are living in a system that is pouring acid on your attention every day. And then you are being told to blame yourself and to fiddle with your own habits while the world's attention burns." Hari states that this is not a new problem. A shrinking attention span has been documented over the past 130 years. But technology has exacerbated the problem. With the increasing deluge of information, I love this data he found. Love it in a sadistic sort of way. He says, picture yourself reading an 85-page newspaper. Some of y'all might have to tell those around you what a newspaper is. In 1986, if you added up all the information being blasted at the average human being, TV, radio, reading, in 1986, it amounted to 40 newspapers worth of information every day. By 2007, researchers found that number had risen to an equivalent of 174 newspapers every day. And here we are, 18 years after that data point. Makes us want to run away, right? And that's exactly what Johann Hari did in his book. He removed himself from all electronic communications and conveniences for 3 months while living at the tip of Cape Cod. Wouldn't we all like to do the same? Let's go. Or Hawaii, I understand, maybe. But the reality is that concepts like wellness and retreat are not always available in such a grand scale because the demands of life, taking care of children, taking care of aging parents, hey, showing up for work, filing our taxes, 2 months left, paying bills, or whatever cocktail of demands weigh upon you. As a Christian minister, I often refer to the Hebrew Bible and the Christian Testament for help, for empathy, for guidance. I read about the Hebrew prophet Moses leading the Israelites out of Egypt, who took a pause on this epic journey to retreat up a mountain away from the demanding crowd for 40 days and nights. No doubt an introvert. The Christian Savior, Jesus, spent 40 days in the desert or the wilderness, depending upon the interpretation, while fasting. And the early Christian evangelist Paul seems to have given himself a 3-year retreat to the desert during his conversion from Judaism to Christianity. And these accounts are all wonderful, and they all represent epic moments in their larger stories. But again, how realistic is it for you and me to take such retreats? And where are the biblical accounts of the ancients dealing with the distraction of the smartphone? You could summarize a lot of what I'm pointing at this morning, but not saying specifically as targeted at the smartphone, because that's probably the biggest piece for all of us. But the topic is so much bigger, isn't it? If our attention spans are shrinking, if we're so easily distracted and find it so difficult to break out of it, is it impossible to make ourselves better for one another and for our community? Well, the good news is that it's not impossible. Our brains are muscles, or like muscles, and simply require exercise in the undoing of things that make us less than our best for one another. And there is no single answer for any of us due to the different locations we come from, different ages, different family dynamics, different access to technology. And yes, in general, I think all of us know what we need to do. We'll go through a brief exercise at the end to help us focus in on that. We know how to improve ourselves, but it's hard work. Often going against social norms, seemingly putting you and me at a disadvantage to our peers as we limit information, as we slow down. But it's also a task we best do in community, in relationship to one another, in the classroom, in a workplace, even in this place. Westside, we can help each other by striving to be our best selves, listening when others speak, being comfortable with silence, eliminating the interruptions of technology. So in the remainder of our time this morning, I want to explore 2 concepts. One, putting our finger on something that interferes with all of us, and a second concept that invites us to grow. We call this first concept switching, or the mental juggling our brains seem to do on an increasing basis in this modern world. I mentioned earlier this increasing volume of information that comes at us in our lives. And research shows us that this phenomenon causes humans to focus less on any individual piece of information. The more we're flooded, the less we can focus. Further, this flood of information interferes with our ability to reach depth in a topic, because depth requires time, energy, commitment. And the way information is consumed today, in short articles on the internet, or even worse, in single sentences in social media, leads our world to a lack of depth, inability to focus on any one topic. This could be a strategic effort on the part of politicians and propagandists, but that's a topic for another day. Invite me back to listen, not to lead that discussion. I've never been the fastest reader. In fact, reading has always been somewhat challenging and burdensome for me because I always seem to take a little bit longer than my peers to read an article or a book or an assignment. When I was in high school, I remember that speed reading was a new thing. It became very popular. There were traveling seminars at the local hotels offering to train participants in speed reading. I was tempted to take the course with the encouragement of my parents as I was preparing to leave high school and pursue higher education. I knew it would be helpful, but I never did it. I always wondered what the tips and the tricks were. So I've just continued to struggle. But the outcomes of speed reading have been studied, and much like the lack of focus under a flood of information, speed readers have been shown to have poorer comprehension of the materials, and they are less likely to grapple with complex or challenging subjects that they are reading. Author Johann Hari wonders, in turn, if you and me are speed reading life, skimming hurriedly from one thing to another, absorbing less and less. And as an antidote, Hari, who might be you, I'm thinking, encourages all of us to engage in practices that are deliberately slow. Meditation, yoga, tai chi, yard work, crafting. British researcher Guy Claxton says, slowness nurtures attention and speed shatters it. MIT neuroscientist Earl Miller argues against the concept of multitasking, saying, your brain can only produce one or two thoughts in your conscious mind at once. Multitasking is a myth that this speedy culture wants us to believe. This myth may make it appear that we are smoothly moving from concept to concept, when it's actually a more stuttered effect with our minds switching repeatedly back and forth, juggling between concepts that comes with a cost. Miller identifies 3 detrimental effects of this switching. A switch cost effect, wherein the constant reconfiguring of our minds, it's been shown to reduce IQ, intelligent quotient by 10 points. 2, a screw-up effect, wherein errors greatly increase. He analogized it to drunk driving. 3, a creativity drain, such that all this switching starves our brains of unconscious time, vital unconscious time, allowing our brains to absorb all that it has consumed throughout a day. But Westside, as we live into this culture that values speed, praises knee-jerk reactions and quick responses, I invite you to be counterculture, to pursue those slow practices, leave room for silence, encourage depth, eliminate distractions. So the second concept, which invites us to grow, is a field of positive psychology known as flow. I've got a difficult name here. Mihai Csikszentmihalyi developed this concept independent but strikingly in opposition to a much easier name and a more well-known name, B.F. Skinner, whose work on behavior theorized that humans are not free creatures, but instead products of positive reinforcement. And it's Skinner's work that underlies much of the addiction in social media, posting in order to gain hearts, to gain thumbs up, to gain attention. A vicious cycle. Mihai found Skinner's work to be a rather bleak assessment of humanity. Mihai lived through World War II as a child and therefore professionally strived towards something more positive. He studied a group of artists who amazed him for months by their dedication to their craft, focusing on a single image and attending to it with great care. For the artists that he studied, time seemed to fall away, as if they were in a hypnotic trance, in a deep form of attention that is rarely seen elsewhere. These artists, in opposition to Skinner's work, rarely celebrated the finished work, simply putting aside their completed paintings and starting on with the next piece. Money and rewards were of little interest. What Mihai discovered was that satisfaction was found in the process itself. Even a process which is physically uncomfortable, exhausting, sometimes dangerous. He went on to study long-distance swimmers, athletes, rock climbers, chess players, all who got lost in the process of their craft. And a phrase kept coming up for those in this stream of focus: flow. When you are so absorbed in what you are doing that you lose all sense of yourself, that time seems to fall away, and you are flowing into the experience itself. Some of you know about this. Even if you've never heard of this concept before, it makes sense, right? With some of your professions, some of your avocations, some of your activities. Mihai identifies 3 quick steps to get to this flow state. Choose a clearly defined goal. Make sure that the path to that goal is one that is meaningful to you. And 3, make sure this work lies at the edge of your abilities, a challenge to you, but not beyond your abilities. And he cautions that flow can be fragile and easily disrupted. So as we close our time together, I'll invite you to another few moments of quiet reflection. Close your eyes if you want. Focus on space in front of you. And let's start by considering ourselves. Look inward. Name what disrupts your focus. What is it that shortens your attention span? What steals your time, taking your ability to think deeper? Let's commit together to be counterculture and eliminate distractions. Now may we begin to look outward from ourselves. Who is it that suffers from our mental juggling? Maybe it's our own self-confidence. Maybe it's our family, our communities, our neighborhood, city, even into this state and nation. Our attention, our focus, the depth of our understanding is indeed all the more necessary right now among those we love near and far. Let's commit to being counterculture and slow down for those people that we love and the world that we love. And friends, it's never too late to find our flow. What is it we want to do? And do our labors toward that goal bring meaning to us? Can we be challenged in pursuit of that goal? Then, Westside, together we strive toward being our best selves for ourselves, for those around us, and for the world. Thank you. As you're able, I will invite you to stand and join for this closing hymn, number 345 in the thicker book.
Okay, so I was asked to answer another question, which I would encourage you all to think about. What programs, people, or opportunities at Westside sustain and encourage me? Now again, we could all come up with a great list, but I tried to boil it down to one word that resonates with me. And you may not be surprised to hear that word is music. So, what talent we have in this small community for music. Singers and performers and artists. It soothes my mind. It calms my spirit. It makes me cry. It fortifies me against the adversity that we sometimes see. It connects me with you. And it gives me hope, knowing that there's a long lineage of people in the songs we sing who have relished in the gifts life offers us, and they persevered over adversity. So I will also offer that, I said, what opportunity? The opportunity to be a part of this music is such a privilege. And Westside is for me, and I suspect for many of you, a bridge over troubled waters, right? Letting us escape into the exquisite beauty that we heard this morning, sustaining me through the challenges, and encouraging me to do more to fulfill our covenant. And now, closing hymn. We're done.
So the chalice is now extinguished, but its light lives on in the minds and hearts and souls of each one of you. Carry that flame with you as you leave this place and share it with those you know, with those you love, and most especially with those you have yet to meet. And now join me in our congregational closing. Go in peace, seeking justice. Go in peace, committed to equal rights and opportunities for all. Go in the peace that is created when together we build communities of true solidarity, deep compassion, and fierce, unrelenting love. Go in peace. May it be so. Blessed be, and amen. Have a wonderful week. Stay warm and safe, and we'll see you next Sunday.